up, nerds? I'm Leah with Project Nerd, here interviewing for the Dickens Horror Film Festival. With me today, I have Nick Burchard. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're really excited to have you and your film here. You're here with the Uncredited.
So wait, Izzy, they just grabbed you off the street and said, "Hey, come be in our movie."
You're from the area, correct?
I've lived in this town most of my life. Grew up on a street just a few blocks from here.
Do you guys see that guy in the back? That's a dead guy in the background of the shot.
Oh, that's a homeless guy with a red blanket.
That's clearly a dead guy.
Homeless.
Dead guy.
Homeless!
Dead guy. Is he?
It's a dead guy.
Thank you. Here's Woman on the Street, played by...
Uncredited. Izzy, they didn't credit you?
They didn't even pay me. Besides, they were gone the next day. Never to be seen again. Ooh.
What can you tell us about your film?
Well, despite the posters in the background there, the film is called The Uncredited, and basically it is a story about a young actress named Isabel who sits down to watch a movie that she appeared in as a teenager with her friends, and they discover a dead body in the background of the shot, and stuff gets real freaky from there.
And so before we started recording, you had told me that behind you, those are the original poster concepts for the movie. Was it called something different originally?
No, it was always The Uncredited. You guys will like this, Project Nerd. I come from an independent comic book artist background, so
Right.
freelance illustrator and everything like that. So all of the visuals from the film are all drawn by me. All of the storyboards and everything are done by me, and concept, all of this stuff. So this was the original concept for the poster, and then this is how it wound up being in the final version.
That's awesome. I mean, I have to say I got to watch the film and it was really well done. I was terrified watching it, and then the ending is just kind of, it blows your mind, and I think, part of the horror of it is that it leaves the audience to kind of be like, what would you do? What do you think's going to happen next, So what, as the writer, what kind of inspired this story for you?
Oh, okay, great question. Well, first of all, I'm glad that it scared you. I'm sorry it scared you, but
No, I love being scared. I'm one of those people that watches scary movies because I love getting
right,
scared. So.
right. Yeah, me too. But now that I make horror movies, it's getting harder and harder to be scared by them, because I'm like, I see your dolly. Like, come on, let's move.
Yeah, like, I know how that's done.
Yeah. So staying on topic, what inspired this film was it came to me in a dream, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, it was a weird dream. I have weird dreams. It's one of the reasons why I have like kind of a weird love-hate relationship with nightmares. I like a good nightmare because it's like a horror movie that's for you. I don't know. But basically Uncredited came to me in a dream, and I think it had a lot to do with the COVID-19 shutdown and everything being closed down, movie theaters being closed down. And I went to film school in New York City, so it was a very social, film focused environment, and all of my friends, every night basically, we'd sit down and watch a movie, and we would always be pointing out weird stuff in the background. And we would be giving each other a hard time, like, no, that's not what that is. That's totally what that is. And, as somebody who's seen the movie, you can probably see where subconsciously, I think, missing my friends and the, lockdown, shutting down movie theaters and new movies coming out, I kind of really missed that camaraderie of sitting down and almost roasting a movie, with your friends. And, coming from the comic book background, I was focusing a lot on making my background designs better. And in comics, it's kind of fun to throw Easter eggs in the background and everything like that. So I guess subconsciously it threw all of that at me, and it was like, well, what if there's something really creepy in the background of a horror movie that this one film nerd notices, and something really, really awful is in the background of the shot, and it's a dead person. And that kind of plays into my anxieties as an indie filmmaker as well, because you never know who you're interviewing when you bring somebody on to a job, especially indie film, where you're like, come on, just be in our movie, please. Don't even sign a release. Just, nobody's going to see this. And then 5 years later, you never know. It's creepy. It's creepy stuff.
That's so cool. So as a writer and like a book artist, have you had any other stories that were inspired by dreams that you've had, or?
Oh, good question. Well, I tend to I would say that this is the first one that's ever come to me from a dream. It's starting to happen more and more. I'm starting to dream in a more narrative sense, which is really, interesting, I think, and maybe a little dorky. But yeah, I think a lot of my characters stem from me wanting to explore an idea and then me finding a character that I can fall in love with. And then pretty much my writing style is pretty similar to a lot of people in Hollywood is you write character first. That's kind of my motto for Tiny Viking Productions. And so writing character first is I come up with a character that I love and they tell me what their story is. I just kind of give them a little bit of help with like what the setting for their story is and everything. But then I just find a character I like. I ask them why to almost every single action they take, and then boom, you have a story.
That's incredible.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. No, that's amazing. It's really great to hear how different writers have sort of like a stream of thought behind their writing and where that inspiration comes from. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
So what inspired you to switch over from doing comics? Because you have Tiny Viking Productions, which is the comic book production company. And then I saw that was also the production company behind the film. So what inspired you to go from comics to film?
Well, I've always kind of been in film, and I really think that comics are almost an extension of film. I really do believe that because what is a comic book if not just a really well-defined storyboard? And I mean, I don't know. I love them both. I've had people ask me in the past. It's like, so are you going to do comics? Are you going to do film? I'm like, I'm going to do both. What are you talking about? Because if I can't, film is so hard to get funding for projects, and I can always sit down with my iPad and make my little film. I mean, Uncredited started as a Zoom call with a bunch of friends from college, and they read the script, and I took their audio recording and storyboarded the whole thing. And it's crazy because the storyboard was 7 minutes when it was all said and done, and then the film wound up like getting another. Well, it wound up being 12 minutes at the end. So you do the math because I'm not good at math. I draw pictures.
I'm terrible at math too. What is 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 minutes and something?
I was going to say 5, but I didn't want to look like an idiot.
I had to do that on my fingers, so don't feel bad at all. Well, that's awesome. Do you have any other projects that you're working on or anything that's coming up next for you?
Well, okay. So you mean film or comics or just in general?
Both in general. Like what's a project you're really excited about?
Well, last year I have a little character named Bug. I actually have a little.
You have an animation, right? That's the Bug, yeah.
Yeah, so Bug is this little moth cat hybrid thing. He's based on the Mothman mythos, but I decided to take Mothman and make him this really dumb little like cat thing, and because who doesn't want a baby Mothman? And so basically every October, instead of Inktober, which is an art thing where you take a prompt list and you draw something ink-wise every day for the month of October and post it on your Instagram, I do what's called Bugtober. And in honor of me releasing my first movie, I'm doing a all horror movie themed Bugtober. So I'm putting Bug in all of these like different horror movies and everything. So
that's awesome. Can you share any of them with us? Do you have any?
Yeah, so I just finished Saw. So I made Bug look like the Billy puppet from Saw. And
that's awesome. I almost said classic, and then I was like, wait, Saw is too new, but then I almost showed my age because Saw's been out for so long. It's almost a classic horror movie.
Saw's like 20 years old.
I know, like, oh my gosh, I remember when that movie came out.
Saw's like 20 years old now. It's nuts. Oh my gosh. What is it with a car? It's like in order to be a classic, it's 25 years, right? So I think you're safe.
Yeah.
but some of the other films I'm doing are, gonna have The Thing, obviously. I'm even doing Treehouse of Horror. I've got Bug with the aliens from The Simpsons. I'm a huge Simpsons fan.
I noticed some of your animations had Simpsons styled people in them. That was really cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Um, Real quick, do you have a website or any other things you want to plug with us really quickly?
Yeah, sure. So people can always follow us on Instagram at the Uncredited Film, and they can follow our producers at Skylar Productions on Instagram. They can follow me at tinynick_. And then you can also follow my art page, Tiny Viking Designs.
All right. Well, awesome. Thanks for sitting down with me, Nick. This was Nick Burchard with his film The Uncredited for the Dickens Horror Film Festival. And yeah, thanks again for talking with us. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. This was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Single